Well, here in Arizona, as it is really across most of the country, cost of living is the #1 issue. But here in Arizona, there are a couple of other issues as well that they'll be voting on this time around. So it's not just who folks want to be president, there are other issues as well. We've been speaking about illegal immigration. We were down at the border yesterday to report on that. Well, the other issue that will be on the ballot this time around is abortion. So there is a push to amend the state constitution when it comes to time, moving it out from 15 weeks to a period of viability, which is roughly 24 weeks. And so I want to talk to a couple of campaigners on both sides of the argument today, so we'll bring them in now. A very good morning to Tayler Tucker from Pro-Choice Arizona and to Cindy Dahlgren from It Goes Too Far. I'm going to make sure I get that right. Now, understanding that this is a very emotive issue, it certainly came up recently in the Queensland election over in Australia, but that didn't go anywhere. This is a serious matter that will have a result here. I do want to start off with you, Tayler. So, I mean, if it's successful, Arizona, it's really going from one extreme to the other, isn't it? Because it had some of the toughest abortion laws in place up until recently, but then there was a change after Roe that went to 15 weeks. Now it's going to be pushed out to 24 if it's successful. So, again, one extreme to the other.
Yeah, as part of Pro-Choice Arizona, we run the Abortion Fund of Arizona, and truly it has been a little bit of whiplash. Before Roe ended up being, fell in June of 2022, we already had dozens of restrictions here in Arizona that were causing so many barriers for people to be able to get care. Then when Roe fell, we kind of entered a real gray zone where we went back to an 1864 territorial ban that meant that people were not being able to get care. They had to travel miles and miles, take off work. 60% of people that have abortions already have children at home, and we're worrying about who's going to take care of this child care. And so the Abortion Fund was doing drives, was making sure that they had the transportation to fly out. And so now it is really, really great that we are now at the 15 weeks, but we need to expand abortion care more.
So as I understand it, this is all part of a push. There was a drive recently and collected so many signatures, more than expected.
Yeah.
Does that give you an idea of how successful this might be?
Truly, I mean, it is a popular issue. Over 800,000 people signed on to get this on the ballot. They really want to see it. And so it is the most ballot signatures that any initiative has gotten in Arizona history. And so we're really, really excited to see that there is this popular groundswell of support because people understand this issue and want people to get care.
All right, let's bring in Cindy now. You obviously would not have signed that petition, but your thoughts on why you wouldn't want that to be relaxed?
Well, our concern is that this amendment goes far beyond what voters are being told, and voters deserve to know the truth. They're being told that there is a ban in Arizona when that is not true. Abortion is legal up to 15 weeks, beyond that for medical emergencies. We're also guaranteed, every woman or girl who gets an abortion in Arizona is guaranteed to see a qualified medical doctor who has the expertise to detect and then respond to any complications or emergency that might arise. That goes away under Prop 139. Also, we lose these common sense safety precautions that are in place that, although Taylor called them barriers, they're actually very critical, including the critical ultrasound that can be life-saving. And the proponents' own attorneys said that that requirement for the ultrasound would not stand under Prop 139, even though it saves lives.
So why would you be against moving it, first of all, from 15 weeks to 24 weeks?
Well, there's a lot more to it on Prop 139 than that. First of all, the latest poll in Arizona shows 90% of Arizona voters want abortion limited at 15 weeks or earlier than that. So we're already at the high end of that at 15 weeks. And I would also argue that Prop 139 does not limit abortion at 24 weeks. The way it is written is it will allow abortions throughout the pregnancy, throughout the entire pregnancy for almost any reason. And they do that with a loophole that they use. It's a very broad exemption that they use. They say it's the mental or physical health of the woman, but the Arizona or the U.S. Supreme Court has already ruled that that means almost any reason, anything that goes to her well-being. It's very broad. Okay, I just want to squeeze a couple more questions in. So is this also a ploy? I mean, because you're voting for a couple of different things on this ballot this time, Tayler. Is this a way to attract more Democrats to the vote this time around? Would this vote favour Democrats?
It depends, but really, abortion care is wildly popular throughout this country. And so I think that saying that it's some sort of ploy when it's just an issue, that people across party lines have said that they want Roe back. They want abortion care back. They're tired of hearing stories like the one that just came out by ProPublica this morning by Jocelyn Barnica, who died because she was unable to get miscarriage care and had to bleed out in a hospital in Texas. And that was before Dobbs fell. I think that we're seeing these stories of Amber Thurman and Candy Miller, people where doctors are afraid they will lose their licenses if they're unable to provide care. So I really don't think this is any sort of partisan issue. This is an issue of whether or not we believe that people should be criminalized, punished, denied, and delayed the care that they need and get to decide what they want to do with their bodies and their families.
Okay, Cindy, final question. There was an interesting stat that I read last night that since the demise of Roe, the question about regulating abortion has been won by abortion rights groups all 7 times. Does that give you an idea of which way this is heading?
Well, I think right now the situation that Arizona is in is we have the benefit of looking at those other states that passed similar amendments, and we can see that those common sense safety precautions have all fallen. In Michigan, in Ohio, they've lost the right to see a qualified medical doctor. Abortions are being done throughout pregnancy for virtually any reason. They lost even informed consent to ensure that they know what to expect, what the risks are. And I would also argue that women are all protected when they have miscarriages. That treatment is already protected in all 50 states. And even the late-term complications that women have, the doctors, at least here in Arizona, are already protected. They can make sure that they treat those patients. So Prop 139 is not about miscarriage care, and it's not about late-term complication care. It's about expanding abortion throughout the entire pregnancy.
All right. Cindy and Tayler, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that is just one of several issues that will be on the ballot this time, Kenny. Now, coming up next hour as well, there is another big issue that's not just affecting Arizona, but it is around the nation. I know that Laura talked about this yesterday. It's the issue of fentanyl. It's killed so many people across America over the past couple of years. 2,000 people here in Arizona have died over the past 12 months, which is an absolutely staggering figure. And we've got a family of a victim who we'll be talking to a little bit later on in the program about that as well. So that and much more.
OK, we'll get back to you soon, Pete. Thank you very much. And there are just 6 days to go until the US election day. Make sure you join us for live coverage all day Wednesday. That's Australia time. Kieran Gilbert will host our coverage with Annalise Nielsen, Paul Murray, James Morrow, Laura Jays and Peter Stefanovic in key locations across the United States as all the results come in. Next Wednesday, November 6th, the big day.